Either. Good morning, Facebook. It's 10 a.m. in the UK, and we are live for Blabbing for Britain, episode 148. In the lobby, getting another coffee, is Peter. So Peter will be joining me shortly. I'm sure that John is somewhere around too, and I'm just going to wait for them to arrive and you to arrive. If you're catching the replay, this show is all about events in the UK and around the world. And it's a team of four of us. We've been together for 148 shows, and we're looking forward to, in 2 weeks' time, celebrating 150. So, on that note, we introduce the second member of our team, Mr. Peter Stewart, all the way from Aberdeen in Scotland. I'll put you full screen, Peter, then people can actually see which coffee you've got. Which coffee do you have today?
Kenko.
Kenko. I've got Kenko as well. It's pretty good stuff.
In the pods. But, yeah. So that's
right.
me. Good day, everybody.
All right. Good day. Welcome to the show. And just a few stats from last week's show. 150 people watched the show. And our best audience is ladies in the age range of 45 to 54. So there you have it, Peter. That's our audience.
Okay.
I'm just going to close that browser window, come back, and say welcome to Blabbing for Britain, episode 148. Time's flying, Peter.
Yeah.
A lot's happened in those 3 years.
Wow. I know. But how long do you think I've been with you?
About 2.5 years, I think.
2.5 years. It wasn't all that long. It's just flown in.
I know.
Could have been dead in that time.
You're with us, Peter. That's the important thing. Right, to everybody's watching. If you're not watching, if you're watching anywhere apart from the BeLive in 5 page, click the link up above, and that'll bring you straight here, and you can actually comment live, and you can also take part in a poll. Because BeLive polls are live. We can ask you questions during the show, and you can give us your answers. And it's going to be very interesting as we're joined by a third member of the team who's also got a cuppa. I know he's not got a cuppa, he's got some other objet d'art. Just a minute. Let's say good morning to Stephen. Good morning, Stephen.
Morning, Peter. Morning, Stephen. How are we?
We're good. Sun's shining down in Wiltshire. It's going to be 18 degrees.
It's gorgeous up here in Stoke with the gorgeous sunshine, the palm trees, the beach, the waves. It's the most wonderful place.
It's a great place to dream in Stoke, indeed, to envisage what you want, see what you want. If you've got do you really have palm trees in Stoke?
Yeah, all over the place, mate. It's a very, very hot climate up here. No, we don't. Of course, we don't. But I've got some palms over there. I think ferns. That's lovely. I like
Peter.
Orchids. Hey, Pete.
Hello there. Beautiful sunny day up here. Lovely autumn day. Can I just hold the conversation? For some reason, I went over and had a quick look at my phone. Screenshot captured. I don't know if it's from you. Peter, you may have seen the news. Today we announced we are cancelling 3 weekly video shows we produce on Facebook. Who's that from?
Right, that is from the team at Social Media World. Let's just go back to it. 3 of us on screen. I'm watching the video after this show. Social Media World have got 3 shows that go out on Facebook, and they're very well attended, and they can have audiences, live audiences of people, several thousand people view each of their shows.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. And they have decided that they're not going to do the shows on Facebook anymore. They're fed up of Facebook, and that they're going off to YouTube.
Right.
So I think we'll get more on that story as it develops. I think that the situation is that a year ago, their audiences were double what they are now.
Yeah.
And their audiences have fallen off, and they're saying, well, it's time to think again.
Right, yeah. I think you've got to... I've always said this about Facebook, that one day that they can actually ruin a show if they wanted to, by just making a change, and that's it. So you've always got to be looking for other platforms.
But with 2.3 billion people on Facebook, that's where the audiences are. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens to their audience when they do move over to YouTube. Because will people follow them? That's the first thing. The biggest problem we have is getting people to leave Facebook and go somewhere else. I mean, trying to get somebody to your website is like trying to push water uphill, isn't it?
Yes. Can I just say, just quickly before we go on, I don't know the agenda, but Stephen, are you still going down to Pestec?
No, don't know. When is it?
I thought you might have known. The 7th of November.
I'm not booked in at the moment. I'll have a word with my mate Pat and let you know later today.
I've booked my tickets and everything. I thought you were going. I've come down to specifically meet you from Aberdeen on a train.
You're a lovely man. Thank you. And I don't know. I'm touched. Very.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll let you know later on today. Milton Keynes, you say?
It's Milton Keynes. I thought you were going to. You've always
You weren't going to bloody Pestec just to see me. Come on.
Well, if you believe that, you must be stupid.
But you brought us neatly onto the subject of trains. And Paddington Station is near normal now after the rail chaos.
Yeah.
At 7:30 on Tuesday, an Hitachi 802, I'm going to name it because it was an Hitachi 802, which is doing speed trials between London and the southwest, actually managed to take out 500 meters of cabling, which meant on Tuesday no trains ran into Paddington, apart from the odd one, and utter chaos. And the thing that's been levelled at British Rail is that thousands...
Excuse me, it is not bloody British Rail. It hasn't been for 20 years.
All right, GWR.
No, it's not GWR either. It's some weird bloody Virgin brand. Stephen, accuracy, come on.
No, GWR is London, is Paddington to the southwest.
Ah.
Okay. I travel GWR, and the great Isambard Kingdom Brunel built all of it. So there you are. There's a bit of history there. But the biggest thing levelled at GWR and the station staff. Can I say the station staff, Stephen? Please?
Probably, although
right, okay.
They're employed by the train companies, not by Railtrack, I think.
Is all that all the destination boards were empty or saying cancelled, and nobody knew what was going on and nobody said what was going on. No announcements over the tannoy. People were just left to cope. Everybody who's there's got a mobile phone. If they just go, they can actually find out exactly what's going on. I know people didn't announce it. Anyway, I did some research on the Hitachi 802, and it is going to be adopted by GWR, Great Western Railways, one of the best railway companies ever. And it will shave. It goes from, let's say, from Portsmouth to London Paddington. This fantastic, expensive new train, how much time is it going to save on the whole journey?
5 minutes.
Exactly correct, Peter. It's going to shave 5 minutes off the time. Anyway, okay.
But what I want to know, are they getting those little Japanese guys with hats and white gloves pushing them into the carriages? That's what I want to know. Are they going to train the staff to do that?
Oh, I can see that happening on Bristol Parkway, I'm sure.
Have you ever seen that in the telly?
Oh, I've been in that.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
So funny.
I
like the way their faces are like this. I love that job for a day.
The train drivers are immaculately dressed. They're wearing white gloves as well.
Yes.
Everything runs on time.
Yeah.
Everything is spotlessly clean.
Yeah.
And every single train is full. And you get pushed in. Right, and Crinder's asking.
A train pusher for the day. I'd love to do that.
Right.
And the Japanese sit and take it as well. Anyway, sorry.
Right, okay. I just want to explain to Carinder, the Hitachi A2 is the new train, and I can actually, well, if this is working, I can actually put a link in later to the train itself, so you can actually have a look and see what it is. Hitachi are one of the world's largest electronics manufacturers. Oh, one of the world's largest manufacturers. Okay. Any news from Stoke, Stephen?
No.
Right, okay. Nothing's happening in Stoke. Peter, Aberdeen, while Stephen's thinking?
Well, I'm just on my favourite subject, fighting people on Facebook regarding cyclists. We've got a path in Aberdeen. It's the old railway line that goes from Aberdeen right out to Ballyton. It's the railway line that Queen Victoria had. Now, they got it for the public. Horses are allowed on it, cyclists are allowed on it, and pedestrians are allowed on it. And it is just a fireball. I mean, I was knocked off my bike the other day, and it's just a fireball. And it's so funny reading the comments. But I'm quite diplomatic. It's good. It's good to see. I love it. So there you go. That's what's happening in Aberdeen today.
Isn't it a bit bumpy on that line for the bikes?
No, it's got the tarmac macadam on it now, but where it is bumpy is where the tree roots have grown through, and that can be a bit bumpy. And so it's a beautiful run, but the pedestrians want us off it. We're staying on it, but it was bought for the people. It's horses too, and they don't like the horses. They just want it for them and them only. But it's a shared path, and it's quite fun.
There are lots of reports of drug addicts, people with knives, police cordon in place after a body is found in an alley in Stoke, which is lovely. But there's also the opportunity for Stoke City to be resurgent, which is quite nice. And the council are about to spend 115 grand, 115, on red route cameras. Something I would be grateful for outside my house, because we've got no speed bumps, which is an absolute pain.
Right.
And there's somebody is saying 16 reasons not to visit Stoke-on-Trent ever. So we'll skip off that one. And I did actually take my grandson to the Hanley Museum a few weeks ago. And you may recall that I'm not sure if it's the last working model or whatever, but one of the first or last Spitfires is currently on display. It's called the Mitchell Memorial, Mitchell Museum, in honour of the guy who invented the Spitfire. So, marvellous commemorations, marvellous chap in marvellous Stoke.
And we say good morning to John. Morning, John.
Good morning. Sorry I was a bit late, but had a potential new client phone me up at 1 minute to 10. I couldn't tell him to go away because I want his business.
I had a new client phone up at 3 minutes to 10, John, saying, no, issues. And, managed to get them sorted before I came on. I've got to go at 1:30, but apart from that.
Okay.
What are you doing for the client, John?
He's got a website that nothing happens to. And his original thought is that SEO is the answer, and SEO is like 5% of the answer. So I went in and saw them last week, went through the different things that they're doing wrong, etc. And he phoned me back today and asked me a load of questions, some of which are almost impossible to answer. because they're how long is a piece of string. But I'm going back to see them again tomorrow, hopefully, to sort of come to an agreement of moving forward. So,
congratulations! It's always a marvelous thing, that is. When you land a deal, we always celebrate. Me and the missus, we just celebrate, and sometimes we celebrate when an invoice gets paid. It's just a marvelous thing. Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
No, that makes it worthwhile.
It's an affirmation of what you do.
Yeah.
So, what's the agenda today?
Right. Okay. The agenda today is: do you have a question you'd like to ask our audience?
Yes.
Why the hell do you listen and watch us?
Well, that's a good one, but I was going to think, you know, if we're going to have a poll, couldn't we have one that said, are all Scotsmen tight? And do all Scotsmen have deep pockets?
Where are the young ones?
You're not taking this seriously, are you? I mean, this is a poll of the nation's opinion.
I would love to know why people watch us. I'd like to know how many people watch us. How many people watch us, Steve?
150 watched us last week.
My God.
Right, so can I just ask a question about the poll? Is the poll to do with the show?
It can be anything you want, Peter.
Right, okay.
Brexit question coming.
We had some great polls yesterday, didn't we, Stephen?
We did, yeah. I'm gonna start with this one. I'm gonna do this. Let's see what happens. And let's be controversial to start with. And you have two options to you can either vote yes or no. And this is very pertinent and brings us to our next news item in a moment. So the poll is, I'm going to bring it up on screen. It should be on your screens now. And I'll bring it up here. I'm going to go down and bring it up because I need a space.
Come on, Stephen.
Sorry, John. Was the Brexit vote a good idea? Yes or no? Right. Okay. Now that poll will run throughout the show, and it's showing on my screen.
No. Oh, wait a minute. I'll want to Facebook.
I can see it going out, and Carinder's seen it and voted. Can you not see on your screens a black area?
Nope.
Oh, good. Okay. It's definitely on Facebook, I think. Anyway, I'll bring John back. So that poll will run throughout the course of the broadcast, and I'll bring up the result at the end.
What does it say?
Was the Brexit vote a good idea? Yes or no? And all of which brings us neatly on to, I mean...
Maybe we should put onto that poll. Do you think David Cameron regretted giving us the chance to vote on Brexit? That's what it should be. Because he's done it. Somebody was asking, where's David Cameron when he's never reappeared to answer. Did you mean yes or did you mean no? Yes to stay or no? We need that from David Cameron to sit there and say that. And say, yes, it did mean that we would come out the single market. Yes, it did mean we would come in the common, whatever it is. He needs to sit there and say, yes was going to mean this, and no was going to mean that. Come on, David Cameron, where are you? Let's hear you.
We won't hear from him. It's Mrs. May battling on her own with her civil servants and with the cabinet and with everybody else. And currently the idea is that one of the current ideas is that we actually stay in the EU until 2021. There you are, Peter. Your thoughts on that?
No, and then they'll want more time. And then can we get a bit more time? And what a bit more time?
Blood pressure.
Well, Peter.
By that time, no, wait a minute. By that time, it'll be a re-election time before we get out, before we do anything. This is important to the people. You can't keep them stringing along.
Are you calm?
That's my saying it. You didn't ask. Because I'm getting sick of it. Do it. Just do it. Whatever you want to do.
The only reason for wanting to stay till 2021 is to not have to implement the backstop on Northern Ireland.
Aye, that's the reason. Yeah.
Better?
Come on.
Is that better?
Come on, I'll let you have your say. I'm giving you the opportunity.
You said everything for us.
All right, okay.
Just go on and on and on. 20,
No, but do you not
23, 24, 25, 26.
That's
We
my
might just as well
prediction.
stay in.
Do you want a prediction from me?
Yeah, sure, go.
Okay, this is my prediction. I know that the Prime Minister is getting a hard time just now by everybody. But one day, I think that she will, if she doesn't get toppled, one day she will sit there and she will say to the nation like me and go, I've done as much as I could do and Europe was getting in the way. Therefore, we will have to have a clean breakaway. They had their opportunity. And that'll be what happens. That's my vision. And I'm a good visionary, I'll tell you that. A lot of things happen, I say it happen. And that's what I reckon's got to happen.
So hard Brexit for you.
I think they've brought it on themselves. Look at the way they treated her. They didn't even take out their shit. They got a kebab shop seemingly on their own, and then they're sort of there to sit. They've treated them like dirt.
If you're going to make a decision about somebody actually leaving the club,
yes,
you bring them in, they make their 15-minute speech, and they say, "Thank you very much. Please leave the room. We're going to talk about it."
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what happened. That's the principle of what happened. You don't talk about you. Never mind.
No, well, mate, they could have said, "Why don't you come to dinner with us?" You don't say, "Oh, by the way, we're going to have a dinner, and then we'll speak about it after." You could go to the chip shop if you want, or you could stay for lunch, but you'll have to leave, or dinner. I'll have to leave after.
The Burley Monk in Brussels, where they're all meeting, it's just across, I think, from where the ministers meet. But that building is about 20 stories high and about 6,000 offices in there. And it's a rabbit warren. And all of the discussions are going on in theory in about four offices in those buildings, you know, the negotiators. But there are so many thousands of hangers-on. It's an amazing place. And how they're ever going to get 27 partner nations to agree whatever the negotiators come up with. It's just our problem times 27. It's an let's be honest. No prime minister would ever want to be elected with this shit to deal with. Let's be honest. And she's making as good a job as she can. But it's an impossible task. It's an impossible task.
It is really difficult. But one thing, she doesn't let people push her into popular opinion. That's for sure. She's steady. She's going to come up with something one day, which may cost her.
You can't, because you can't negotiate yourself out of a borderless society club and then have borders with Northern Ireland and Ireland. It's logically, what's the word, Stephen, John? Logically
impossible.
Impossible.
But there's another word for that. But it's so given that it can't be done, she's on a hiding to nothing from all sides.
Gosh, it is.
Yes. See?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the people, I'll tell you one thing, the people that hold the key for her is the DUP. And they will not let the UK get split up like the Europeans are wanting. They will not do it. They're more loyal to Britain than we are.
They're more loyal to Northern Ireland than we are.
Yes, Northern Ireland, but they're more British than we are, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's not the issue, Peter. It's the issue between Northern Ireland and Ireland, which is unsolvable.
Insoluble.
Insolvable. Everything can be solved.
No,
Everything.
it can't.
Yes, it can.
Black and white, mate. You can't.
Do you think the Irish don't want to trade with us?
You're doing it again, Pete. You're not addressing the question. It's logically impossible to leave somewhere where there's no borders without putting a border in.
And you can't put a border in for the reasons that we've looked at in the past of the North versus South.
The Good Friday Agreement.
What happens in Sweden and places like that? Don't they have the lorries go through and it's done electronically?
Who knows? I don't know, but they're not. It's not. It's a completely different scenario. That it's just they've agreed to not have borders between them.
Yeah.
And so we're not trying to It's so difficult. I can't even think of the bloody question.
So would you be happy? Would you be happy to say Northern Ireland? You go in with Ireland and do your thing, and the rest of Britain. This is what.
Not a question of what I'm happy about. It's just a it's a problem without a solution. There is no solution.
What did we do before? What did we do before we went into the European Union? Could you? And we got an idea in that.
Again, I'm sorry, mate, but that's irrelevant. We had 40 years of violence.
Yeah,
maybe
more.
Between. I know you were. I'm saying that the border issue is historically and it's so built into the psyche of Britain and Northern Ireland and Ireland. You know, thousands of people died, and it took an absolute age to get a political solution. But
no, the question I was saying was, what did they do before when we weren't in the European Union? What did they do for a border then between Northern?
Well, they had borders in those days, but that was 50 years ago, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
And Southern Ireland wasn't in the European. Ireland itself wasn't in the European Union either.
Well,
so the problem didn't exist 50 years ago.
They're just going to have to put a border up again if they don't.
Okay.
Can we have a new topic? Because I'm bored.
This is a circular argument. We could go round and round and not get a solution because there is no solution.
Next
topic. Now, the second country in the world to legalise cannabis is Canada.
Love the Canadians.
And Canadians are market leaders in the sale of cannabis now. Just to put this in context for the UK, police have been quietly decriminalising cannabis as prosecutions in the UK have fallen away. I mean, there was our police are looking the other way.
Are they looking the other way, or don't our police exist any longer?
Well, the inference. Well, if the either way, the number of prosecutions for possession of cannabis is falling rapidly.
Yeah.
Well, they've got better things to do than cannabis charges. They raided a house not very far from where I lived that someone had rented. A good £1.5 million to buy house on a very nice street, and they'd installed 2 Vietnamese people in there, and they were managing all the plants, and that was recently raided.
Right. Just to explain, just for Carinder, there have been 2 cannabis markets until recently. One is the medical use of cannabis, and it has proven to be effective in treating or coping with many different illnesses. So there is a medical argument for actually cannabis being used. The thing that the Canadians done is that they've now said that cannabis for recreational purposes is also legal. I mean, we allow cannabis in this country for medical reasons, don't we? It's gone quiet. Yeah. Okay. Well,
going on to cannabis, right? Okay. I used to work in London, and I was shocked the amount of people that smoked what they call weed, I think, you know. And I think some of the people were turning out to be right nutters when it affects their brain. I think it affected some of their brains with this. However, being a diabetic, I looked it up and I had a look at what it does for diabetes in the medical form, and seemingly it works wonders by keeping your sugar level down, etc., and it's good for you. And if it's medicinal and it's approved, then I might look into getting some if it makes me feel better.
Okay, so we've gone from drugs. Next to go from a serious topic to a less serious topic. Kleenex have banned man-sized tissues. I think this is outrage. You used to go to your local superstore, you could go to the shelf, you knew which tissues were for you because they said man size, and with pride, you took them down from the shelf because they were designed for men. Now they're just going to be extra large.
I'm shocked.
I'm in shock. Man-sized tissues.
It's a bloody disgrace, I tell you. It's a bloody disgrace. He wouldn't stand for this in Aberdeen, you know.
Here, listen. Yesterday, after my BNI, I sat with people that didn't know half the things I spoke about. I mean, they didn't know Bernard Manning, they didn't know Love Thy Neighbour, all that sort of stuff. And it was quite interesting to see their attitudes. You're actually scared to say anything. Actually scared to say anything now in case you get it wrong. It's ridiculous. What are they going to do about sanitary towels? Men might wear them for all they know. What are they going to call them now? For women only? No, they might not be, for all you know. What are they going to call them?
They're not, are they? They're just STs. Simple. Stephen's got a marvellous point. He's for the last X years been buying man-sized stuff, and we've been happy. We've been content.
Man-size, not for wimps.
Exactly, it's macho. They're not macho anymore. Things have changed.
You'll have
oh dear.
running into superstores, taking them and throwing them off the shelves.
Protest, sign the petition. We'll march on Parliament. Is that today, the big anti-Brexit march? We'll march, waving our size tissue. Hopefully it's not wet or raining.
That's true. That would spoil it. Just to explain to Carinder, they've not banned man-sized tissues. They've just renamed them as extra large. So we were doing a sort of parody of the situation. Now to something serious, and I'd like everybody's opinions on this. A journalist has disappeared in Turkey, and the Turkish police are saying they've got evidence that he was in fact assassinated. Any thoughts on this?
Only dangerous ones.
Oh, okay.
That's what Russia can do what it wants, Saudi can do what it wants. It's all down to money. That's the problem. You can do what you want as long as you take our money or you buy from us, and that's the problem. And they've got the evidence. They've even got the man screaming, getting his fingers cut off. And it's ridiculous.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Right. I don't know how to follow that. Okay, let's go to cricket, shall we? Just as a note for cricket, everybody can fall asleep now. England have beaten Sri Lanka in the second match, and are now 2 up in the series. And only the British could go to Sri Lanka and start a cricket match, and it rains for 6 hours, and they leave 2 hours play. And England win, which is obviously good. But to go to Sri Lanka in monsoon season and attempt to play cricket is the very definition, well, of something.
I like how somebody in a cricket association, whatever it's called, said,
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? They don't do cricket in October in Sri Lanka. That's a brilliant time. We can go in there then. And then we find out.
I could be there at that meeting, Stephen, and fully enjoy. Stephen's disappeared. I'm not sure whether it's on purpose or accidentally. And just finish off sport. It's the United States Grand Prix soon, and Lewis Hamilton can win the world title again, and rightly claims to be one of the world's best racing drivers.
Do you think Schumacher's lad will do any good?
Well, he's doing well at the moment, isn't he? I mean, if he's doing very well at the moment, so he would have a natural progression from Formula 3 into Formula 1, wouldn't he? And well, it'd be good for the sport, I think.
So how many?
What are your thoughts?
How many has he got? How far into the season are they then?
I think we've got 4 or 5 races left.
He's done well to get it this soon, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. Vettel's had I was going to say something poor year. Is that Vettel's not had the best of seasons or the best of luck, or been in the best form, and therefore Hamilton has been able to run away with it, even though he hasn't had the best car. The best car was definitely at some of the circuits was the Ferrari. Sorry, John, you were saying about...
Yeah, we were talking about Schumacher's lad. He's doing so well in Formula 3 that he can now qualify for Formula 1. I assume that means there's no Formula 2.
All right. And Carinder is a Formula 1 fan. And all right. And Lewis Hamilton didn't keep changing his tyres. We lost Peter entirely because we're still talking about sport.
And I've got to go off, but it's been a delight as ever. And Stephen, I need to talk to you about podcasting. I'll just finish.
Okay, I'll catch you later then.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. And then there were 3. Well, 2 actually, John, because Peter's off making another coffee. That's his second coffee in 30 minutes. Oh dear, oh dear.
Perhaps we should repost yesterday's regular or decaf. But not at all option.
All right, okay. We've got a poll space now. Which coffee? I'm going to spend it 3 do you drink? And the answers are decaf or regular.
Or not at all.
Or not at all. We'll do it properly this time. Okay, the poll is ready. It's going live. Carinder, if you can vote to test it, please. And the poll is live, and there we have it. Which coffee do you drink? And the answers are regular, decaf, or not at all. And place your votes now, please. The other thing about this is, it's good. You can use these for quizzes. Thank you, Carinder. Can you see that, John?
Post? No, we don't get to see the poll at all.
Oh, right. Okay. I shall mention that. And thank you, Carinder, for voting in the poll. And the poll is, which coffee do you drink? Decaf, regular, or nothing at all?
Can Carinder something about, did you hear about Microsoft?
All right. Okay, just a minute. Let's dig back then.
So
the security one.
Microsoft?
The security one. Stephen, did you hear about Microsoft security? Microsoft have a new security with Windows 10, and there won't be any more Windows. No, they have to keep Windows 10.
Well, they've always said that was the case. There would be no more Windows. That's nothing new. There'll be Windows 10. And that's because the man with the unpronounceable name, Sayat Murugam, who is the chief executive now, thinks Windows should be a minor part of Microsoft's business.
All right.
Okay.
Right. The money's in tools and not operating systems, in commercial projects, Office and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sad to hear about Paul Allen.
65.
Indeed, yeah. 65, that's no age at all, is it? He said.
I've got to say, I never even heard of him.
What? You've never heard of him?
No.
It was his garage.
Was it their garage, was it?
No.
I started off from a garage as well.
I just don't see you achieving the same giddy heights.
Oh, Oh, if I had my time
So,
again.
so if you've never heard of Paul Allen, have you heard of Wozniak?
Yes, yeah. Was that the guy with the bald head that used to bounce onto the stage?
Well, it was Jobson, Wozniak, and Allen and Bill.
It's a shame. All these people, they don't get long lives.
Mm.
Do they? It's such a tip for today. Don't run a computer for him.
Oh, well, he hasn't been in computing for 30 years.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
He came out because of his initial illness, and he's been lending money to people to get startups running and things like that.
Mm. Very good. I've got a bit of news for you guys.
You're pregnant.
You may be seeing it in the news, and it involves cycling. The government's going to wait to put a new into the drive. This is a true story. Heard it this morning. You can look it up. Pedestrians and cyclists will have right of way when vehicles are turning into a road. The pedestrian has now, if you step onto the road and you're in a vehicle turning in, the pedestrian's got right of way. But now it's going to wait to become official that if you're turning and a cyclist turning and that, they've got right of way and pedestrians. Did you see it in the news? You'll be able to look it up. It's going into the driving standards. And I'll be able to carry my copy of it. I'll take that section out and get it printed and hand it to motorists and say, have a look at that.
Oh, Bibble.
So there you go. You pregnant. I've lost a lot of weight. How do you think I was pregnant?
No, that's what I said. You said, I've got some news for you. And I said, oh, you're pregnant.
Yeah. That's another question. Should men have babies?
Not if they can't have man-sized tissues.
Ah, there you go. Can't have it both ways. Sorry, sir, you can't have them. Don't
Okay, let's go on to a happy. Let's go on to a happy royalist story then. And they are in Australia at the moment, and Meghan is trying her hand at Aussie Rules football.
Well, there's someone who is pregnant.
Exactly, that was the link. See, I'm good. Good
link.
Serendipity.
Good link. Yeah.
Sorry, Peter?
I was impressed, actually, with the friendliness of the pair of them and him allowing the little lad to stroke his beard and things like that.
Yeah, they're good. They're good at being royal and friendly, and I think good at being human rather than aloof.
Down to earth, yeah.
Down to earth, aye.
Because, of course, he's already spent some time in Australia, hasn't he? Because he went there jackarooing for 3 months.
Uh-huh.
Jackarooing being the term for a handler on a ranch.
Yeah, I like Prince Harry. He's a real person, you know. And, yeah, he was also a tank crewman, the same as me.
Yeah, then they gave him a £35 million helicopter to bugger up, didn't they?
Yeah. I'll guarantee it was the best serviced helicopter ever.
I think so, Peter. They take extra special care.
Well, I knew a guy that used to do it for Prince Charles and his ship when he was in the Navy. And it had to be a pass. It had to be whatever passes they've got. It had to be the top pass for him to go up in it. Quite right as well, the monarchy.
What about Piers Morgan criticising 007 for carrying his child in a sling?
It's got all the made-up story thing as this. I mean, Piers Morgan is a work of
monstrosity.
He's not in the same league. Well, he's just out for publicity.
But yeah. I thought yesterday's pieing, although I didn't see it live, I did see the replays, was quite good. And the other person he criticised was the ex-EastEnder Hardman. You know, I can't think of his blood. Phil. Yeah. because he's also done it, who came into the studio with a big cuddly toy in one of these things.
It's the way of life. It's just showing the age gap. Do you remember when Grandad, now I had really long hair when I was a kid, you know, at school. And Grandad, look at him, look at his hair. It's a good haircut he's needing. That's what he's needing. And get him an army. Get that haircut off. And it's just life.
Yeah, but the only problem I have with that is I see school kids today and I think, I was never allowed to do that, to have hair that long. I'm jealous, you know. It's unbelievable, the change, really, in uniform, you know.
Yeah. We've just got to, listen, guys, people don't go out and light gas lamps anymore. Did you know that? Well, they do in one part of London, believe it or not. Hear ye, all is well. We've moved on. And we've got to accept it. These things happen now.
That's true. And still happening. Carinder's out and about on the street, and he's just seen a man, John, on Periscope and driving.
Oh. Did he hit a cyclist?
I keep having a bit of a go at old Jason.
Yeah.
Because he's doing it all the bloody time.
Who's Jason?
Wagon.
Franco. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, he's really good at giving good quality free advice about cameras, streaming, etc. away, but it does annoy me when he gets in the family MPV wagon. What do they call it over there? Whatever, van. They call them minivans, don't they?
Yeah.
And then drives along the street streaming.
He's not the only one. But this should be setting an example. And streaming and driving, don't stream and drive.
I've typed that a few times.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
It has no effect whatsoever, does it? The thing that people are not grasping is it's not about your driving, it's about you being distracted and hitting somebody else.
So are they going about like talking into the camera as they're driving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jason, if you're watching this show, and we are nearly 50.
Stream and drive.
We are 50 minutes in, so it's unlikely that she catches at this point. Right. Okay. Now, what I've been doing recently, Peter, is I have actually been periscoping, sat at my desk, I hasten to add, and getting a good thank you, John, getting a good response on Twitter. It's the best way to actually get a response on Twitter. I've had my last video had 600 views on Twitter. So the audience is out there.
Is that views or impressions?
Sorry, John.
Or are impressions and views the same on Twitter?
No, they're not. Impressions, over 600, I misspoke, over 600 impressions. So it flew through 600 people's timelines. And it had views as well. So
I posted a little 16-second video yesterday, which was a cinematograph. Do you know what a cinematograph is, Peter? It's where you get a static photo and then there's something moving and repeating in it. In this case, it was a can of beer being poured into a glass. Mm-hmm. I posted that yesterday about a client, for a client who's on an exhibition. And in a matter of 16 hours, it had 1,100 impressions, which is pretty
darn good.
Wow.
Yeah, the reach is there, isn't it?
Well, I'm having a problem finding I can't remember my Twitter password, and then the email I used for it kind of doesn't exist anymore. And what a nightmare trying to recover it. This is from a pest control business.
Just create a new one, Peter.
What, with Aberkill?
Yep.
Yeah, call it Aberkill Limited instead of Aberkill. You know,
I'll look at it.
Or Aberkill of Aberdeen. You know, just a slightly new name that's still relevant, and just start again.
But the other one's seemingly linked to Facebook or something. I don't know. I'm complicated with it all now. I've had enough.
Yeah, well, if it's linked to Facebook, you can go into your Facebook settings and unlink it.
Okay, fair enough. And start again.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and Carinder's saying he's an artist friend of his, Amrit Singh. I can't can you get the verb there, John?
Right. He's saying Mr. A Singh, that's his name, yeah? So he's Amrit Singh, and his handle, or whatever you want to call it,
Ah,
is
right.
Mr. A Singh, yeah?
All right. Okay. Yeah. And Carinder's agreeing.
Name, whatever.
Peter, start a new account. Okay.
Very good.
Forgot what I was going to say now.
Right, okay. Just a heads up, 2 shows later today at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm producing a show for Barbara. And then at 12 p.m. Eastern, I'm live on BeLive.tv with, just talk amongst yourselves while I remember who I'm on with.
Come on, lady from the West.
No, Linda West. That's it. Yes, Linda West. I'm on at 12 p.m. Eastern with Linda West. Linda's in a competition.
You have to give him cryptic clues.
I'm thinking about what I've got to do, and I'm distracting myself, and this is no good at all. Do you find yourself doing that? You're actually thinking about something else while you're doing something.
Every day.
Good. It's good to know I'm not alone. Yeah, I mean, there are exciting things happening in the BeLive TV world, which we'll all find out about in the next couple of days. Obviously, polls is one of them, and there are other exciting things coming up too, and they could well be excellent timing. We shall have to wait and see. So that's the teaser. I'm sorry about that.
Stephen and I had an anniversary this week, Peter.
We did.
All right, what was that?
We've been friends on Facebook for 11 years.
That's right, I did see that. See, you met at, what is it, you met E-Academy or something?
E-Academy we met on, yeah.
I remember that. What happened to that?
That'd be about 14 years ago, that was, but we went to...
Was that somebody,
Yeah.
is that somebody called Penny?
It is.
Penny Power OBE.
Penny
Yes.
Power, yeah. What's she doing
Tell me,
now then?
She's a government advisor on youth communications.
Okay.
Amongst other things. She's got a business about doing social media in cafes, but I don't think it's working very well. So
Well,
No,
their idea was to set up social media cafes all over the place. Well, the first one's closed down, so I don't think it's working too well.
Well, they couldn't. Their attempt at getting backing was, for want of a better word, sabotaged. And it's unlikely that, because they did a fundraiser,
right.
and the fundraiser was doing okay, but then people they had wronged in the past just appeared from nowhere, and the company who were doing the fundraising said, sorry, we can't have you on here anymore, and it was kicked into touch.
Ah, right.
Right, okay. And suggestion from Carinder, or a question for Carinder. John, Stephen and Peter, have you heard of Get Vocal? GETVOKL. You remember Blab? We all remember Blab. That's where it all began.
Blah, 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 blah. Yep.
Exactly. Get Vocal is Blab.
Right.
But
So
from different authors.
Oh, yeah, no connection whatsoever. There are a lot of people taking
It's
this
a
up.
blabber-like, is it?
It's a blabber-like, and Leland's involved, and several people we met on Blab.
Oh, I've seen... I got invited to something from Leland, but I was too busy to go, so...
Yeah.
But it was something about resurrecting Blab or something.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
okay.
it. It is, well, the spirit of Blab. And
I think he made it clear he didn't mean Blab itself, but it was along those lines of resurrecting Blab.
yeah, I've been there.
Good. Yeah.
And it is 4 people on screen. You can all talk to each other. People can listen and comment. So it's very Blab-esque.
Do you remember a lady from Aberdeen that came on called Eva, YVA Yorston? You remember her recently? John? Stephen. Remember Eva Yorston? She come on this platform.
Yeah.
Right, so Eva, I know her in Aberdeen. She does social media stuff. But I went to like an open seminar last week about digital marketing. And it was PR companies, big PR companies. And do you know what shocked me? How little they knew. Because I was there, and they come up to me later, and they says to me, how do you know so much? And then the funny thing was, I got to tell you this bit, there was a woman said to me, she's standing here, there's another woman there, and we got chatting, and I said, she says, how do you know so much about this? I says, a lot is just self-study and using it, and I was telling her all Facebook adverts and everything like that. And then the other woman, her name was Christina, I says, where are you from, Christina? And she says, I'm actually from Germany. And I went, oh, ich habe gewohnt in Berlin. Ich habe gewohnt in Berlin for 1 Jahr. And the other woman, she just was shocked, and she looked and says, Peter, is there nothing you don't do? It was brilliant. But it's shocking. All these big PR companies are there, and I says, I can tell you how many people today have used my Facebook advert on my app. I can tell you how much for the whole campaign and that. And it just blew their minds. Unbelievable. What do you think of that?
I think that we forget more than we know, and because we've been doing this a while, we take what we know for granted.
Yeah.
And also in larger companies who use large PRs, this sort of work is done in-house, not by a PR company. You know, what you're describing. Facebook ads.
No, but these were people, their job was to work for other companies to get them noticed.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, if you're a big PR company and you're working for Nestle already have an in-house team that will do the kind of things you've been talking about.
Yeah.
Again, you can't have a third cuppa during a programme.
Yeah, we've only got 4 minutes to go,
No,
Peter.
no, it's just that when the cleaner's turned up and he's looking at me as though I'm an idiot, sitting speaking to a computer.
Right, okay.
But he's correct. We're all idiots.
Oh, did I tell you about my newest gadget?
Not yet, Peter. Over to you.
I've got a thing to put on my helmet, right? The microphone and the ears, the earpads don't go into your ears. You twist them a bit, right? And it's away. It's for cyclists. And I can use my phone and whatever. I can speak. Can actually, if somebody else has got one, we can use it as a communication device as we're cycling. And so I'm looking forward to setting it up. And it means I don't have a sore ear with getting someone prodded in.
So do these connect here and use the cheekbones?
No. These have actually got they come down and they're just a wee bit away from your ear. They're not going into your ear, right? And attached to one of them is a microphone that comes here with a wind canceller on it. And I'm looking quite, Terralio is the name of it, Terralio. And I'm quite looking forward to using it. And so fantastic. Because I got one, but when you're wearing it a lot, you get a sore ear. I don't like things probing into my ear.
I can't wear earbuds at all.
Yeah, they're horrible.
I just can't.
I get a sore left ear. And that's Peter's gadget of the day. I'll tell you something. Just one last thing. I'm starting to use a calendar called Team Up. And it's good as well. So simple for me. Team Up. That's
Team
me.
Up.
Yeah, Team Up.
Question, Carinder. Is the gadget you talked about wireless or wired, Peter?
It's Bluetooth. It's all attaches to your helmet, and it's Bluetooth.
All right. Other questions from Carinder. How do you broadcast from Get Vocal to Facebook? You can't. It's just what it is. There's no broadcast feature in there. And this is the good news. Peter John Steven, good news. I'll be starting my shows back. My new laptop arrives next week, and I'll be coming back on BeLive TV. Wish you every success, Carinder. It'd be good to have you back on.
I wonder where you are.
Yeah. Right. Okay. We're coming up to the hour, so I'm going to hand over to Mr. John Upton to close the show.
Had a funny little experience on Sunday. Every second Sunday of the month down the allotments, we have a tea and coffee session put on by some ladies who've got a plot who for an organisation run by the local doctor. And the local doctor sits next to me and says, "What's this blabbing for Britain that you're doing on Thursday morning?" And I explained to them it was just 4 old farts enjoying themselves. Anyway, time for us to stop enjoying ourselves and go and do something serious. Good news in the Upton household, by the way. Not only is the washing machine working, but we have a new central heating boiler, and it is so much better than the old one.
Good.
It's quiet. You can't hear it when it goes on and off. So it's goodbye from the man wearing the cans in Scotland, jumbo ears. It's goodbye from the man down in Wiltshire, who looks like he's wearing a school uniform top.
Yep.
Oh dear, we're going to have a bit of fun today, haven't we? And it's goodbye from the man in Stoke-on-Trent that buggered off half an hour early. Again. Well, he didn't turn up at all last week, so be grateful he was here at all, Peter. So it's goodbye from me, it's goodbye from him, it's goodbye from them, and we'll see you next week for 149, isn't it, Stephen?
It is, yeah, 149.
And the week after is 150, and we have got to do something special for 150.
Okay.
We have. We will.
Suggestions accompanied by pound notes in a brown envelope will be taken seriously.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And we